Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here representing India and the scene in India. I'm also with Mr. Pocha, who is a social entrepreneur based in India, and we're going to talk more about his small social enterprise also. I'll begin with giving a definition of what we mean by social entrepreneurship.
Speak slowly, please.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. I'm going to begin by defining what we mean by social entrepreneurship, and I'm going to tell about the scene in India, what is the present scenario in society as well as in business. Then I'm going to give you some examples of social enterprises in India, which are again the unconventional social enterprises out of the definition of conventional social enterprises. And then I'm going to tell you a little more about what we're doing and the gaps to bridge the gaps that exist as of now. I'll begin. Social entrepreneurship in India has always been going from time immemorial. And in India, the basic model is that it's not always as a response to market and state failures. It has always been due to that people always feel responsible to help the society by and large. And these social entrepreneurs define social problems much ahead of their time and have taken initiatives to solve these problems. What are the emerging dimensions of social entrepreneurship? We have to realize that social entrepreneurship can do several things. Number one is intervene at different stages of need articulation. This is the response model. Say, when there's a social problem, social entrepreneurs come out and give solutions for such problems. They also innovate. They combine existing elements of service or product models in new ways. There is basically innovation. And they also build advocacy movement for such problems in society and build a sound ecosystem so that these problems can be elevated. In trying to define the different types of entrepreneurship, we have made these metrics. There are basically three parameters. One is the trigger, one is initiative, and one is the outcome. Basically, trigger is the reason why entrepreneurship comes out. Initiative is the action taken. That is basically by an individual or a group of people or an institution. The trigger may be immediate requirement of one person, or it may be some problems of society at large. And the outcome may benefit one individual or a group of individuals or society at large. So as of now, what we are concentrating is on a problem faced by society at large, addressed by a single individual at first, and which will have eventual positive benefits for society at large. A social entrepreneur to us also undertakes a lot of risk. That is personal as well as professional. Here we are focusing on the new social entrepreneurs who do new things to solve problems differently and not the followers. So what basically we are saying is that here the focus is on furrow openers. That is basically when a tractor goes to the field and digs out new soil, that is called furrow openers. And we do not deal with people who go to the field and who try to widen the furrows that exist. There are mainly two issues. Involved with social entrepreneurship in India. Number one is the ethics problem. There are a lot of social entrepreneurs out there who take initiatives to solve societal problems, but at the same time are not too ethical about it or transparent about it. And the reason is that for us, the process or means is actually more important in the end. Say even if the end is good, but if the means is not ethical, then it is meaningless to us. The scenario in India. India, as you all know, is a growing global supereconomic power. with double-digit GDP. Sorry. However, the growth is confined to urban areas, and the position of about 650 million rural poor remains untouched. Agriculture is the mainstay of the economy, on which 850 million people depends. But this is affected by lack of irrigation water, overuse of pesticides, crop failures, etc. And marginal farmers are also burdened with debts. Since 1997, about 25,000 farmers have committed suicides. The first initiative taken by the state after independence as a kind of social entrepreneurship was AMUL. AMUL is a federation of a few million milk producing families which was set up in the state of Gujarat. So in this model, basically, the thing is that each and every morning, millions of poor rural milk producing families carry whatever produce that they have and give it to a depot of AMUL. And from there it's taken up in a value chain and proper processing is done. And benefit is shared by these millions of milk producers in the federation. Also, after the success of the Grameen model, the microfinance market in India has grown, and there are hundreds of players out there with customers ranging from a few hundred or less than 100 to a few million people. And according to some reports, India has the highest number of NGOs per capita. There have been efforts to bridge the different gaps, especially in the field of agriculture by big corporations. Number one is Bharti Fuel Fresh, which is quite well known, and they have attempted at sourcing products from farmers who have at least 1,000 acres under cultivation. The problem is that they only source from farmers who have 1,000 acres. For smaller farmers, they say, we do not source from you. Or you consolidate, you sell out your land to us, and you can work as contract cultivators out there. So who really benefits? There is also an initiative by ITC, that's Indian Tobacco Corporation. We have set up e-chocolates across the country. So these are basically rural hubs or rural departmental stores which sells the products of farmers and which also sells products at nominal cost and of which farmers may have a need for. So they include small agricultural implements, pesticides at very nominal cost, among others. We have an initiative by Dr. ASES20081028 Why Villages, wherein agriculture as well as machinery inputs are being given to rural farmers. I'll stop the scenario in India and I'll begin with some of the examples of social entrepreneurships. Number one is an organization called Nature's Heaven. It was started by Soumyadeep Datta in Northeast India. Many of you may not be aware that Northeast India is a militancy infested area, and there are lots of insurgent groups out there fighting for separation from the rest of India. At the same time, this is a hotbed of biodiversity. It's covered with forest, it's covered with animals, and the government has also set up various reserves and sanctuaries to preserve this forest and animals, flora and fauna. But the problem is that, like I say, there are lots of insurgent groups out there, and who in cahoot or in collaboration with forest departments, with government departments, undertake a lot of smuggling activities. They fell the trees, they poach a lot of these animals, and some of which are sent abroad. So what Soumyadeep Datta has done is that he has mobilized villagers out there, youths, about 3,000 of them, who are now engaged in preservation of these sanctuaries. The term that has been used for his sanctuaries are called people's sanctuaries. As of now, he is concentrating in the state of Assam, and he is trying to reach out to the other states. Second one is Entrepreneurs Association, which has been set up in the state of Nagaland. This is one of the states in the region adjoining China and Myanmar. The state is also witnessing various secessionist movement. There are insurgent groups out there who are having a parallel government. So the Indian government to solve this problem have given out dollars, have given out millions of rupees, dollars, to solve this problem. But the issue is not that. There's no mechanism for the benefit to go to the people out there in Nagaland. And the spirit of entrepreneurship is not there. So what Mr. Nechuta Dolo has done is that he has formed Entrepreneurs Association with a group of first generation entrepreneurs from Nagaland to teach basic entrepreneurial skills to young people. They have conferences, they have mentorship programs, and they also give out microfinance to such interested entrepreneurs. This is a very interesting model of social entrepreneurship which was started by a retired bank employee, Mr. Mani. He lives in southern India, and his house is just next to a central jail. So what happened was, every time he used to go to work, he used to see these children crying in front of the jail. Children who are children of convicts, murderers, who are serving terms and sentences in the jail. So he decided to do something about it. He set up this small enterprise which takes in the children of these convicts and give them schooling, lodging, so that they can be a productive part of society. And to set up this institution, Mr. Mani gave up his whole life savings. As of now, he's getting support from interested individuals and a few corporations also. This is a different form of educational reform, social entrepreneurship. This was started by Mr. Sonam Wangchuk. If you see this photo, this is a cold desert in the margins of India. This is basically in the Himalayan regions adjoining Tibet. The problem was that the conventional education system propagated English and Hindi as a medium of teaching in these places, and which were not exactly in requirement of the local culture and the local situation. So what happened was, a lot of school children, because of their alienation from the education, used to drop out. So there's a very low literacy rate and a high dropout rate also. So what Mr. Sonam did was, he started this advocacy movement which advocates the teaching of education in the local vernacular, in the local language, and set the curriculum in tune with the local culture. He taught initially this model to a few primary schools and middle schools in the place. And as of now, the movement has become so popular that this model is even being introduced in the adjoining country of Nepal also. Indian blood donors, I think it's better if the entrepreneur himself explains about it. If you can open the website, indianbloodDonors.com, and Mr. Pocha can give a small introduction to it. The website.
Hello, good afternoon, friends. First, I take this opportunity to thank the Work India Foundation to invite me over here, and to Professor Anil Gupta from IIM Ahmedabad to nominate me over here. As I speak to you, a patient in India is critically ill. whether he lives or dies depends on a unit of blood. People in India are running from pillar to post to get a unit of blood in their own city or some other city. At times, people die for want of blood. At times, there are some unscrupulous elements who are selling blood to make money. My personal experiences in 1994 and 1999, I experienced and I saw 2 people dying for want of blood. This got me thinking that what must be happening to those thousands of people who come from villages to big cities for treatment. What must be happening to small children who suffer from sickle cell and thalassemia, who require frequent blood transfusions? Where must be these people going? India's requirement is about 80 to 90 lakhs of 90 lakh units of blood every year, and there is a shortfall of about 30 to 35%. 1999 was the as they call it, the .com era. At that time, I was using the internet to send mails to my cousin, and suddenly one day I realized that I could use the power of the net to save lives. Though I am not a computer savvy person, I have no knowledge of computers, but I decided that this was my calling in life. So it is evident from the fact that you can see the extension of my website is .com. That time I did not know the difference between a .com and a .org also. So I started to build a website, gave it the name Indian Blood Donors, and we launched the site in the year 2000. The site was not noticed at all, so we started sending mailers to people because advertising a website is the most important thing. So slowly our site started having donors. We got the break in the year when the Gujarat earthquake happened. There was a lot of blood required. So it was on the TV where wherever there were blood donors, they registered on our helpline and people started helping people. And since then, we have started growing. Today we have about 45,000 blood donors all over the country. We grow at a rate of 10 to 15 donors every day. This is all word-by-mouth publicity. And we help about 10 to 15 people who need blood in different parts of the country. As of today, you can see these are all requests which have been posted today. You can click on any one of the requests. Any one request you can click on, and you will get down below. Any one request you can click on. This request, you can see this patient, why the patient needs blood, the name of the patient, the contact person, the telephone number of the patient, and which hospital he needs blood, and up to when the blood is required. We have seen cases where people have been going around searching for blood donors in a city for months together, and IndianBloodDonors.com has helped them in a time span of 6 minutes flat, and at the cost of 1 Indian rupee. That's all what I want to say. This model can be replicated in any other Asian countries, because I see a lot of shortages in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and anywhere else. And I'm ready to help any social entrepreneur use this model anywhere, free of cost. Thank you very much.
What Mr. Poja forgot to mention was that since internet is only available to a few sections of society, he has also made this module available in SMS through your mobile phone. So anyone can have access to this database through your mobile phone. Yeah. Even then, there are a lot of gaps still existing in India. I don't think any of you know, there are about 600 districts in India, out of which 3/4 are affected by Naxalism. there is basically a violent insurgent movement. So there's a lot of gaps which social entrepreneurs can address also. But at the same time, the government policy has not always been in favorable of social entrepreneurship. For example, there is this scheme called National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, which was started by the government to provide at least 100 days of employment to about 250 million people. But this sort of employment is not knowledge-based. It's basically menial work, digging out, breaking stones, and working under the sun the entire day. So what the government is propagating is that the poor people have only hands and legs and no mind to think. Again, like I said, there's no support system, ecosystem for social entrepreneurs whose conventional credentials are weak, but whose work may have positive impacts on society. Basically what we mean by this is that there are a lot of people who may not necessarily be university educated, but whose work can have a lot of positive impacts. At the same time, there is no support system, ecosystem for such social entrepreneurs, because this society values education and this form of conventional credentials much more than the positive impacts that their work can give. There is also an absence of social venture funds to support such social entrepreneurs in India. There is basically, say, one wants to start out, but one is in need of money. So how do one start out? Because charity begins at home. If he cannot support himself, how can he carry on with his work? Not to say just being critical, not to bring on a fight, but if you actually look at Ashoka models of social entrepreneurship, they actually select out individuals who have, with their own initiative, set up social enterprises. So it is not a support system for startup social enterprises. And like I say, the third one is that in India, the public policy for support of such venture is very weak. I'll tell you about this initiative which we call the Honeybee Network. This consists of individuals, NGOs, academicians, institutions who believe in the basic philosophy that people, irrespective of their educational background, where they are from, either from urban or rural area, or what their education is, have to benefit from the knowledge that they share. And knowledge, rather than being kept or centered around one individual or a group, is always better shared. So looking at that, the Honeybee Network was set up about 20 years back. Like I said, it consists of individuals in various spheres of life, this is the two logos that we have. If you look at the second logo of this woman, basically what the logo says is that with the knowledge that she has, if given a proper opportunity, can do wonders. There is basically to bring positive impact. Sorry, I'll just rush. The second logo is that if we bring people such as this in a network, then everyone benefits. That's a simple model. What the Honeybee Network does is that it is an incubator of enterprises who basically work in the basic philosophy that Honeybee Network believes in. It has helped set up an NGO called Srishti. It has even set up a National Innovation Foundation, which is an Indian government-supported scheme. Basically, what the Honeybee Network does is that it is engaged in short yatras. In extreme winter and extreme summer, a group of people go to rural places in India and try to document the knowledge that these rural villages have. So it can be as simple as, say, recipe competitions is the first picture you see. This is a roadside meeting documenting what knowledge people have. There is the typical road that people go through in the short yatras. These are in road places, like I said. And there is also another meeting. We also print out honeybee newsletters, which is kind of an advocacy thing. And biennial award ceremonies are also held to reward outstanding knowledge holders and grassroots innovators. Most of these awards were given by the President of India. So for a person living in a rural area, getting a prize or an award from the President of India is a life-changing experience. We also file patents for these knowledge holders. Till now we have filed about 180 Indian patents, along with 7 US patents. Around 40 of them have been granted in India. These are patents filed in the name of the innovators from these villages with money from the Honeybee Network. A few of these technologies are also licensed to companies and to small startup entrepreneurs so that business models can be built on these technologies. And there is also a small scheme called Micro Venture Innovation Fund, which is some sort of seed capital support so that these innovators can set up small enterprises based on their technologies. There is basically, say, village level enterprises and small enterprises. This is one case example, Mr. Ray Muruganandam. What basically he has done is that he noticed that the price or the unavailability of sanitary napkins is the reason why even less than 10% of India's women use sanitary napkins. So what he has done is that he has simplified the process of sanitary napkin making into these 3 basic units. This is the last part, is the sterilization unit. So using this, village level enterprise can be set up with about 100,000 rupees. These are the various brands that have been launched by village level enterprises. This is a project commissioning and training photo. Yeah, I think I'll end with that. That is, we're running out of time, so I'll hand it over to the next speaker. Thank you.